On this episode of Out of the Box Gaming, we're kicking it old school, but also new school. And we're talking about arcade games. So power up your favorite console, press play, and enjoy gaming with us. What's up, gamers? Welcome to Out of the Box Gaming. I'm your host, Nick Picard, and I am joined by a man who won all the tickets at the arcade, Will Kinsey.
I did cheat at a lot of skee-ball.
Oh, you cheated?
Well, no, my friend did.
Oh, okay. You were just, you're just on that end, acting like you're throwing.
I was the dude getting the balls and throwing them up, and he was the one putting them in the,
I got you. Yeah.
But we got a lot of tickets, man.
I mean, I would be lying if I said that I didn't do that myself. If you're joining us for the first time or for the 56th time, we would like to welcome you. We're a gaming podcast where we talk about all types of games like video games, board games, card games. Sometimes we'll have special guests on here where we, learn about, their journey into gaming, about their life, any of that. And you may ask yourself, well, why are you going to talk about this? Well, it's because we want to, and we think that we have something to say that you may want to hear.
That's right, everyone. We want to share our love of games and possibly, introduce you to something new.
If you want to catch us live, you can do that by going over to twitch.tv/AceKingKing on Saturday mornings at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. And we are also joined this morning by our wonderful, sleepy producer, Lindsay.
Hi.
She literally just woke up like 20 minutes ago because I had to go up there and wake her up.
Quite rudely, might I add.
Whoa, hold on, whoa. Quite rudely?
Yeah, you didn't say, hey, you need to wake up. You said, you gonna wake up?
No, I came in there and I, shook you because you were snoring. I walked in there, shook your arm, and you're like, well, I'm like, you want to get up?
Yeah, you gonna get up?
And then I gave you a hug, so.
Yeah.
Also, be sure to check out our Discord, because we want to hear from you. So feel free to drop any topic ideas or discussion questions that you may have for us to talk about. This can be done by going on over to our Discord, going to the topic ideas and discussion questions text channel, and typing away.
Alright, and now I believe Lindsay is ready with the trivia question for today's episode.
I am.
Okay, she is.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I found a Minecraft one because we've been doing a lot of Minecrafting lately. What planet is most similar to the scalable size of the Minecraft world?
Wait, what?
Planet.
Like actual planet?
Yeah.
Okay. Wow, I never even thought of that. Okay.
Well, for the first time ever, I have recently gone to the edge of the world, so I may have an idea on this one. The Minecraft.
I mean, what, did you go where there was like a big barrier?
Yeah, it's like that big blue wall kind of.
I actually told Ryan, and he said, no, that's just where I've rendered it. You can go further past that.
Well, now I don't have any idea. Okay, well, that is a great question you have for us today, Lindsay. If you guys at home want to think about that question, we'll come back to it at the end of the episode. We'll give our answers, and then we'll hear the correct answer.
Yeah. All right, so today we are kicking it old school, and we're going to be talking about arcade games. I know in the past we've mentioned that. It's like, hey, we may do this, and we finally are. So yeah, arcades. I went to a few growing up. There was, I know Will and I were just briefly talking about it before we started the podcast. There was one close by me growing up called Time Out. It was like in the local mall. Not very huge. And then there was one that was like maybe 30 minutes away from where I'm at. It was called like Celebration Station. That one was like a couple stories. And it had a go-kart outside. It had something else outside dealing with water or whatever. I mean, whenever I go in there, all I did was the arcade stuff. Those are the two I mostly remember, other than, Chuck E. Cheese, when you're a kid. And And then I know there, whenever I went on a cruise ship, they had like an arcade room there. But those are the ones that I mostly remember growing up, and they had similar games, obviously, because I think all arcades basically had the same games at the same like time. Um, but yeah, what about you, Will? What are the ones that you went to or remember?
So from my early days, I'll start from the childhood days. We didn't have any arcades in my tiny little town here, but we did have several places that had arcade rooms that I would frequent quite often. So we had my family never went to Pizza Hut, which did have an arcade game room
Yeah.
usually, right? But we always went to this place around here called Pizza Buffet because you could get like $7 and you could eat as much pizza as you want, which is, the classic Southern thing,
Oh yeah.
Uh, pay $7 and eat like three pizzas in one sitting. Why not? Um,
That's the dream, man.
yeah, but they had an arcade machine, like a little tiny arcade room in the front there. And I remember specifically there was this really old like driving game, and then a, I think it was a basketball game that like one of the joysticks was missing on one side, so only one person could play. It was rough. But I think that was probably my earliest experience with arcade machines. And then, of course, Walmart always had their little arcade bit in the front.
I totally
Um,
forgot about that.
yeah, yeah. So they always had little like claw machines and like maybe a car game and some other little arcade machines in there. And um, before I learned about the demo games in the electronics section, I would play the arcade games in the front.
Hmm.
So, my Walmart entertainment experience went from the front of the store to the back of the store at some point. But yeah, that's where I hung out. And it was a lot easier for my mom to find me back then.
Yeah. Not really. I
um,
forgot about though Walmart having like that designated section in the front, because now it's just like
yeah,
on the. It's just whenever you enter the store, it's like on, whatever the opposite side of where the shopping carts are, and they'll have like claw machines, and that's about it.
yeah. Like some of them do still have that little arcade machine. I know that one or two of them here in Greenville. Uh, it's kind of sad because it's like a little like cubby in the
Hmm.
front, and they're just like some dilapidated arcade machines and a claw machine. But that was one of my big arcade experiences back in the day. But as I got older, as I mentioned before we started to you, for field trips for some reason at my school, at least once a year, instead of taking us someplace educational, like I think they were supposed to, they would take us to this place called the Fun Factory in, I think it was either North Carolina or Tennessee. I just remember we had to drive like an hour and a half, 2 hours to get there. And it was this huge building just full of all these amazing arcade games. They had bumper cars inside, they had go karts outside, they had laser tag, bowling. It was insane. They had like one of those laser galleries where you shoot the little targets and they like ting and stuff
Hmm.
with like the little laser guns. It was great. So that was my favorite arcade experience growing up was going to the Fun Factory. Um, and that was where I honed my skills in Time Crisis. I don't know if you ever played Time
No, I
Crisis, the
haven't.
shooting game, but
I
you
don't
get like
think
a
I have.
pistol and there's a pedal on the ground and you like have to stomp on the pedal to get out of cover and your like character on screen will like get out of cover and you have to shoot things on the screen with your laser gun. And it's a co-op game, two-person co-op game, and you go through a storyline. There's several of them, but the one that they had was Time Crisis 3, and then they upgraded to Time Crisis 4 around my like middle school, high school years.
Uh,
Um,
I looked up the. That was a pedal.
yeah, yeah. So there's a pedal, and that's how you like got in and out of cover.
Maybe that's why I would die so much playing the game. I don't think I knew it was. I thought you just like pick up the gun and then you would shoot. So you would just like move around, and I didn't know that you would actually have to take cover.
Yeah, yeah. So there were a couple of games that featured the pedal, but I think Time Crisis was the big one. So that and Mario Kart quickly became my favorite arcade games. When I was younger. Oh yeah, and obviously Chuck E. Cheese, like you mentioned. I remember going with my childhood friend Matt to Chuck E. Cheese on my birthday because I was only allowed to have one friend on my birthday.
Oh wow,
Don't know why. Yeah,
savage.
yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, we didn't have a lot of money, so it was like you get one friend. So I chose that friend, and he introduced me to the idea of, hey, you stay down by the balls, I'll go up here, and you just throw me the balls, and I'll put them in the hole, and we'll get a lot of tickets. And we got a lot of tickets, but we did get in trouble. So you know,
Um,
we got to keep the tickets though. Like they didn't,
well,
they
that's
didn't take the
weird.
tickets from us.
Well, maybe because
Which I mean, what would they have done with the tickets? Honestly, like,
I don't. They just throw them
yeah,
away.
I. So yeah, they let us keep the tickets. They just yelled at us and told us we couldn't do that again. Um, yeah, yeah, and then so yeah, that and then Fun Factory, and I guess really I didn't have a whole lot more arcade experience until Dave and Buster's as like a full
Hmm.
on adult and getting to go to Dave and Buster's and play the games there. And now my favorite game at the arcade is I think it's called Speed of Light. You like stand on this platform and you can play a two-person competitively, but there's just a bunch of buttons in front of you and they'll light up and you have to smack the lit buttons as fast as you can. And the more lit buttons you hit, the higher your score goes. And if you hit a button that's not lit, your score goes down. And I am undefeated in that game. And every time I go to Dave and Buster's, I get the high score on it. I don't know how. I
You
just
just
really like that game.
you're just that good.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
it's fun. And I still play a little Time Crisis because Time Crisis is still a thing.
yeah. Um, I know for me with the different arcades that I said, I mostly remember going into the one that was like Time Out. That was the one that was like close by here in the local mall. Um, which I think they're a thing again, but they're not in the same section, and it doesn't give me the like arcade feel because you know normally when you go in the arcade it's like dark, like the lights are out and you know it's just lit up from like the machines or whatever, except for the one light over by the counter.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, this one is just like full on lit, and it just looks weird when you look at it, you know. Um, but I would have birthday part. Well, it's not really. I have a birthday party there. It's like, hey, it's my birthday. I have friends with me. We're going to the arcade, and then afterwards, we're going back home and having pizza and cake and all that. But I remember that we would go in there, and it would a lot of the times when I would go to the arcades, I tried to do the ones that give me tickets because I wanted the tickets so I could get prizes. But there was still some games that I wanted to do that didn't give me tickets. One of my favorite games at this, and it's not even like what I would experience like a real arcade game. Um, I mean, it still is a game, but it was more of a sport. It was one where they had like a soccer ball that was just came out from underneath, and you just kick the ball, and
As
there's
hard
like
as
a
you could.
goal. Yeah, as hard as you could, and there would be like a goalie sometimes or whatever. But I just love kicking the mess out of that ball.
Yeah, I love that game too. Just for kicking the ball.
Yeah, I didn't care about my score or anything. I just wanted to kick the ball as hard as I could. Um, and then obviously they had like the basketball game where the ball comes out, you take it and shoot it or whatever. They had air hockey.
I was always
Um,
terrible at that one. That
and
basketball game.
yeah, I was too. I mean, normally if you can find like that one, like the perfect spot or whatever, you just kind of try to stay in that same motion, and then you'll could get it. But I eventually, I normally miss like several.
But then it starts doing this thing
Oh yeah, I forgot they did that.
You know?
Yeah, yeah. But really, the only like arcade game, and I know I've talked about it before, was like Tekken. That was like one I remember going
Mhm.
in and I would play. Um, and I know I played it also on that cruise ship that I talked about, where they had like an arcade. Um, I always would like go and try to find that game. And then at that celebration station, I don't really remember the games I played there. I remember them having DDR, Dance Dance Revolution. Um, it was just, I guess mostly for me, it's just I played like the games that just gave me tickets because that's what I wanted to win. And I also remember whenever I was younger, went to the beach with our friend Cody, and there was like a local place there. They actually had like an arcade thing. They had skee ball.
Was it
And
Myrtle Beach?
no, this was like Topsail Island, I think.
I was gonna say, because I'm sure there's lots of arcades in that area.
And I'm pretty sure we did the skee ball thing there that you said you did. But they also had, this is more of just memory of when we were there, because I would also take my gaming console when we would go there, because I mean, when we were done at the beach, when we were up there, we, want to play a game. So him and I, we would like switch off from playing games, like single player games. And I know we beat one of the games that we had there, so we went down to like that local um, ice cream shop that had an arcade, and there was this game. It was called like Stack or something. I don't know, but it was like a weird. I mean, maybe Tetris the best. I don't know. Like it had different levels, and each level there would be like this bar, like white bar or whatever that would go across, and you would just have to pause it, and then it would go to the next one, and it does the same thing, and you're trying to get that bar to stack on top of the other bar, and you're trying to get it to go all the way up. Um, and I swear to this day that they program it to a certain point to cheat.
Yeah.
Because there was several times there was a game in there because we already finished the game, and it was like a Fantastic Four game that they had in there as a prize, and we're like, hey, if we win, we're going to get it. And Cody was, I mean, he was the one that got, I think, the closest or whatever. And I would just be staring at it, like watching it, and I would know when, like, to hit. But Cody was the one actually playing, and there was several times when whenever he got to like the very top, and I'm watching it, and he hits it right on there, but then I see it jump over, and then it says that we miss, and I'm like, no, we got it. I know we got it. I watched it, and that happened several times. And we even tried it where we did it before. And if we do it before, it just stops it right there. But if you stop it right on there, it just jumps over. So
that's because arcades are major ripoffs.
Yeah. It was, yeah.
Just like fair games.
Yeah.
Like at the state fair.
Mm-hmm.
They're all rigged too.
But yeah. That was that was what I mostly remember with, arcade, was actually doing that, because we spent so much time there trying to get that game so we'd have like another video game to play. But
yeah, it was always that like heartbreaking moment when you found out that a game was pretty much rigged.
Yeah.
Which is why I loved Time Crisis so much, because it wasn't rigged. Like you could pretty much make it through the entire game on one swipe if you were good. Or on a couple if you were, decent. However, specifically the Terminator game, I know, you cannot finish that game unless you just pour money into it. I have never been able to finish the Terminator game at Dave and Buster's or wherever you find it, where you have like a full on rifle and you shoot like grenade launchers and stuff. Can't finish it. So it's sad when that happens. But yeah, talking about the games that we played that didn't give you tickets. One that I like totally forgot about that you reminded me of earlier was it had multiple games in it, but it was like this dome thing that you sat in. It was a chair and it would move around and stuff. Did you ever play that one? It would have like all kinds of different games on it, but the one I always played was Crimson Skies. It was an airplane game,
I don't
but
remember
you sat in
that.
this big old orange ball in a
No.
chair, and it would like kind of move back and forth. It was like an early version of the ones that we have now, where you get into like the actual like cockpit. You have to open a door and get into it, and it like full on moves around. It's like that.
I don't remember the
Um,
ones that move around.
yeah, yeah.
I
The
mean,
one I always played was this was actually at Chuck E. Cheese when I was a kid. Um, I hopped in that thing and thought it was super cool that I could fly around, and it felt, as a kid, going back like a couple of inches feels pretty cool when you like pull back on a joystick. But yeah, they had that one, and I think there was a similar one for Star Wars where you had like the Hoth um taking down the AT-ATs and the Death Star trench run and a couple others.
this was when you were a kid?
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
See, I know that there was a Star Wars game that they came out. This was years ago, and came to Dave and Buster's, and it was a pod thing. But I don't remember it moving. But I remember it was brand new.
I thought it moved.
Did it move?
I
Maybe
thought
it did.
so.
I don't know, but it was brand new,
There's one at
and
Dave and Buster's
and
now that I don't know if it moves or
and
not.
Lindsay and I went there. We specifically just went to Dave and Buster's. That was the first time I went there, just for me to play that game, and I played it 3 times. And the thing took like their version of tokens, which was all digital. It was like 15 tokens each, and I did it 3 times because I had so much fun, and that was the reason why I went there. I was upset of how many tokens it took, but I
Oh
wanted to
yeah.
play. And I would definitely go back and play it again, though I doubt that it's actually 15 tokens now. I mean, it might be.
Yeah, I mean it was new when we went.
Yeah, it's been years now.
Was it Star Wars Battle Pod?
Maybe, but I don't remember it moving or not.
I was looking it up.
Um, but yeah, it was one where you actually have to open the door, walk in, and then you sit down the seat, and it's like screens are like
Yeah.
coming basically like right next to you, not full on all the way around because it didn't turn around or anything.
No,
But it was right here, and you actually get to.
the only movement is just vibrations.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. They still have that one in the Dave and Buster's here in Greenville.
Yeah, that was the one that
My
we
roommate
went.
actually played it the first time we went to Dave and Buster's.
That was the one that Lindsay and I played because we're like, I was like, I want to go to this, and that was the only Dave and Buster's that we knew about, so we went to that one, and that was the one that had it. It was cool.
Yeah, yeah. They did really well with those Star Wars games. A lot of those like crazy arcade games where you have to do the vehicle type stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I know there's a Jurassic Park one as well, where
Mm-hmm.
you're. Well, they have two now. They have the normal Jurassic Park one where you get into the little cabin thing,
Yeah.
and sit down, and then they have the virtual reality one, which I don't know if you guys have done. I don't know if that technically qualifies as an arcade game, but they do it at Dave and Buster's, and it's a whole thing where you have to tag different dinosaurs, and whoever tags the most dinosaurs wins, I guess. But it's pretty cool. They have like full on 4D stuff. They have a like fan blowing in your face, and the
I
whole thing that you
gotcha.
sit on moves back and forth because you're on one of those gyro sphere
Mm-hmm.
things from the new movies that the kids
Oh
were
yeah,
in.
yeah, yeah,
I think
yeah.
you're in one of those, or you might be in some other weird vehicle. I don't know. But yeah, they did really well with those.
So, Lindsay, did you have any memories from the arcade? Chuck E. Cheese, anything?
No. They were a ripoff, and my parents never took me.
That's sad. Yeah,
Sad
give
day.
her,
No,
give her
I
an extra
mean,
pat.
one of my cousins had a party at Chick-fil-A. That's what Chick-fil-A. I want some Chick-fil-A.
Fun
At
fact for the
Chuck E.
arcade there.
Cheese. A party at Chuck E. Cheese, but that's when I was a little older. I don't think I played any games. I didn't really. We didn't really go to arcades when we were younger. I don't know, but I'm not really sad about it. I mean, I don't blame my parents for not wanting to spend money at those
Yeah.
places.
Oh yeah,
Um,
no, that's fair. It's completely fair.
I
yeah,
mean, as a kid, it's like, no, I want to play this, but now as an adult, it's like, okay, I understand why they didn't.
yeah,
They didn't want
and
to.
I mean, like places like Gatlinburg and Myrtle Beach are full of them because they're tourist attractions, and they know that they're gonna suck kids in, and the parents are gonna give in and spend money. So, like, I remember walking through them, but we never really stopped and played them. Um, which is fine. I mean, really, my Chuck E. Cheese experience was when we took our niece a few years ago as an adult.
Yeah. The thing is, um, Lindsay was with our niece, Maddie Jo, throughout the whole thing. And we only had, like, you go in, you get a card. So Lindsay was with her, and I would just take the card, and I would go play a separate game myself.
We did time.
Yeah, we did time instead of
Not-
coins.
Yeah.
Or tokens. So I would take the card, and I would go and just play games myself, and they were all, like, ticket things. And I racked up on tickets just to give to my niece.
Nice. Nice.
Yeah, I mean, it was a pretty good system. So, like, she and I would scan it and then play the game at her pace. Meanwhile, Nick would take it, was running around
Yeah.
and actually, like, getting tickets. And then the one time we went to Dave and Buster's, but
Yeah. I mean, now that, like, think about of, like, all those games that they had, like, now, whenever we went in, like, the past recent years, like, so how do we think that arcades back in the day influence just gaming today? Because I want to say that the arcades back in the day are completely different than what we have today at a normal
Oh, yeah.
arcade.
well, I mean, technology's changed.
Oh yeah, technology has definitely changed.
So we can have more like the VR stuff and everything.
Yeah, but how was?
Fortunately, we never got to really experience the like golden age of arcades where you could go to the like where you go to the arcade and it was just rows and rows and rows of games and
Yes.
you could hang out with your friends and like I never got to experience that culture unfortunately. But I do think that that culture definitely has impacted gaming majorly.
Yeah.
From just the community aspect of it, to those games that proved themselves in the arcades when they couldn't be necessarily in the home because a lot of kids didn't have consoles at home. So game companies made arcade games, and that's how those games particularly got super popular and ended up becoming household names afterwards.
Yeah.
So arcades really were the lifeblood of gaming for a long time, in my opinion,
Mhm.
because a lot of families couldn't afford to pay for an Atari or whatever.
Yeah.
Like that was apparently a rare thing, which I completely understand. Why would you want to spend that much money on something that you don't really even understand and give it to your kid when you could just send them to the arcade with a couple of quarters,
Yeah.
Not
I
a couple of
feel
quarters,
like-
but
Yeah. Well, maybe in the 70s and 80s, yeah, you could have. Like, I feel like then when it was mostly, pinball machines, or things like that were a lot less gimmicky, I feel like was really, I feel like that was like the peak of the arcades. And then, like, growing up in the 90s, the games started to, like,
transform to the
Yeah.
hey, you can win tickets by
yeah,
Yeah.
doing this thing,
And
like
then they
stopping
were-
this light on this certain point.
then they
yeah.
started to rig the games, and like I feel like it's completely different
Yeah.
than
Arcades went from a place where you could go hang out and play games with your friends to being casinos for children.
Yes. Yeah.
That's what they went from
Yeah.
the 70s to the 90s. And that's kind of why I'm saying we never got that experience of the
Yeah.
true arcade. But it's great to go back to these places like Up Down, where I talked about that bar that I mentioned, where it's literally just old school arcade games
Yeah.
and they're extremely well priced.
And
You know,
then
Dave and Buster's still kind of has that vibe of, I can go and hang out with my friends and play games. So that kind of gives me the feeling, and that's why I like those places. Because they do
yeah.
have those arcade games still.
And there's a place that around here that was like the bar arcade or whatever. It's called Boxcar, and it has those like old games. Like I just pulled up a thing and I see Pac-Man. I do see your Time Crisis, by the way, on this image.
Yeah.
But it says they have 50 plus arcade cabinets and then 15 plus pinball machines, which I remember when I went there and it was just like a big row of just pinball machines. Um, and then like 175 plus console games. And then they talked about beer. But yeah, like I remember them having like a rows of skee ball, which I just saw. They had like a huge section of those old arcade games. Like, you get the Pac Man, the Space Invaders, and all that stuff. Which, back then in those arcades, like, I think it was just those types of games that just kind of like maybe push some of those big big brand companies to launch their gaming console, like the NES or the Sega or something. And I guess they use those types of games to make games for their console because they're, like the 8-bit or 16-bit or whatever. And you would get those fighting games that you would typically see at the arcade. Pac-Man, that was a different type of game than some of the other ones because it wasn't themed around like war or fighting or anything. So that kind of drew in like a younger crowd or something. Um, but I feel like those types of games gave us those games for the console, like those like beat 'em up fighters that would scroll by or whatever, kind of like the Scott Pilgrim versus the World game, how that is now.
Yeah.
Like
Like the old
the
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles
yeah,
and
like
X-Men
those.
games, the old arcade cabinet, like side
Yeah,
scroller
yeah,
fighters. I love
they
those.
brought those to home, and then those types of games have just like kind of evolved and brought us different things over the years, um, to what we have today.
Yeah.
So
I actually kind of love that because the first fighting game I ever played, Tekken 3 for PlayStation 1, had a mode in it where you could do that side scroller mode. I
oh
don't think it was called arcade mode. It might have been called arcade mode. But you would pick your character and you would go through side scrolly and just beat up a bunch of these like random dudes, and you would pick up food to heal yourself. And you'd just see how far you could get. It was just like the old school side scroller fighters, like the X-Men one, which was the big one that I always played, the X-Men arcade cabinet. I don't know if you ever played that one, but
no,
you could play as like Storm, Wolverine, Cyclops, and Iceman, I think, maybe Beast. But it was pretty cool. But yeah, those old school side scroller fighters, I think really they did a lot for the fighting game type community. And the old, what was it, Street Fighter
hmm
had a arcade cabinet back in the day.
yeah, I think most of it was like Mortal Kombat because I'm like seeing the most
Mortal Kombat, that
successful
might have been it.
arcade games that they had from the time where you put like a quarter in or whatever. Um, and as of the revenue as of like 2016, the top ones are Pac-Man, Space Invaders, Street. Okay, so they did have Street Fighter, Street Fighter 2, Miss Pac-Man, NBA Jam, Defender, Asteroids, Mortal Kombat 2, Mortal Kombat, and Donkey Kong. Those are like the top 10 successful arcade games. And you just think
Thunder
of
was the
like
one with the ball, right? The scrolly ball, and you had to shoot the incoming missiles with your laser thing.
yes,
That
yeah,
was a good one. I
yeah.
had that for PC.
So
That's a
like,
good.
I mean, even if we take like those successful games and look at what we have today, like like everyone knows what Pac-Man is, and I'm sure
Mhm.
everyone has heard of like Space Invaders or like Asteroids or whatever. Like you'll still see like apparel for those games, so
Yeah.
they have had a huge impact on gaming,
There's
itself,
still a
and
massive asteroids game in Dave and Buster's.
yeah, I
It's
mean,
like it's a big screen. It's all nice and shiny and got
yeah.
neon colors, but it's asteroids.
I know I pulled up a thing for whenever we get to like how the arcade games have changed. But yeah, that was one that I saw. Um, but yeah, so like even though we don't really get to, if you go to a normal arcade, you don't get to experience like any of these old games or like what a old arcade was like. Um, these still definitely like help arcades and video games like form to what they are today. Um,
Like the multiplayer Pac-Man that you can play now.
yeah. And then even pinball, like they even put pinball like on phones or iPad, because I remember I got like Star Wars pinball or something on my iPad when I was doing ministry team, and pinball, that
Really?
was a hoot.
Huh.
um I mean
Did
the
you
most
say
I
that was a hoot?
yeah, that was a hoot. The one that I
That
mostly remember is like one of the more popular ones is the Addams Family. I remember doing that
yo,
one.
I got something to show you.
Oh my. um But yeah, like all the old arcade stuff is like, really oh.
This is the Pokemon Thundershock Challenge game. It's an old pinball game, electronic pinball game featuring Pokemon, and this thing's actually worth a bit of money.
Oh.
I didn't realize it. I googled it like a few months ago, and it's worth a bit of money. Not like a lot of money, but a bit of money. And that was my big pinball experience in the game in my childhood. And to this day, the sound it makes will drive my mother crazy. Because you turn it on and it's just Pikachu screaming Pikachu as loud as he can. Just really freaking loud. And it's just a lot of repetitive noises from the game. So like the sound of a Pokemon coming out of a Pokeball, that like weird laser
Mhm.
sound, like all
Yeah.
that stuff.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
um but yeah, I mean, even like those old pinball games, like we get those electronically now, because I remember, like, I know we talked about when we did the handheld games, there was Pokemon Pinball on the Game Boy Color. um
I didn't know that
yeah,
existed.
I mean, yeah, I think I talked about it. I had it. My sisters and I, we would switch off with who got to play it.
Huh.
um but yeah, so with what we were saying, like, how has the arcade games itself, like inside the arcade games, changed over the years from like the old classic arcade?
Oh
And
man.
because I know before we said that it's mostly, the hey, go and do tickets, like
Yeah.
get you like
Yeah.
get tickets or whatever.
You've got your child casinos like Chuck E. Cheese. And, obviously sections of most arcades that you find now are going to have those ticket games.
Yeah,
Um, but there's also a lot of really, really good advancements that have happened. Like the new Mario Kart games are super fun.
yeah.
Um,
Because
they take up
back
a lot of
then,
space in the
I
shop, but they're fun.
I remember doing some of the racing games, but they just weren't, I guess, spectacular or whatever. But over
Yeah,
the
like the best one
years,
back in the day was the one where you could save your car and then take it to another arcade machine of the same type and put your car in.
I didn't know you
That
could do
was always
that.
the coolest one to me. Yeah, it's the one that had the like T9 dial pad on the side.
Hmm.
You could actually save your cars and take them with you on some of them. But yeah, like that was a whole thing. And they've they've brought those into the future as well. To where you can have this little uh like a little card, like a little credit card,
Hmm.
and it'll print out your car or your character or whatever. That's a big thing that's going on in some arcade machines now. When you like create a custom car or custom character in some of them, so you can like carry it on, I guess. Oh, I don't have the cards with me, because they're my roommates. But the Injustice game, the Injustice arcade game.
Yeah, they have that.
If you win, you get character cards. They just give you character cards or team cards, whatever,
Okay.
and that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And there's like freaking over like 500 cards or something like that you can get from that one now. Which again, kind of like gambling because it's just like, all right, I'm gonna keep playing until I get all of these cards.
Yeah.
It's a collectible thing, I guess. It's not like I'm getting currency for an eraser or a slinky. It's I'm collecting these cards, but it's still pretty much the same. Um, but yeah, I think my favorite thing about the advancement of arcade games is how they've taken the old school games and just made them better. Like the big multiplayer Pac-Man that you'll see in Dave and Buster's, where 4 people can play Pac-Man against each other or with each other. And it'll tell you like who ate the most orbs, who ate the most ghosts, who spent the most time doing this. And it's got all the different stats listed out. It's fun.
I
I like it.
know. I like looked up a like a list of like some of the best like Dave and Buster arcade games that they have, and they have a Pac-Man one on here though. I think in this image, it it doesn't show that it's like 4 people playing. It's just one dude, but it's just like you have like the normal Pac-Man game. It's just on a giant neon screen where
Yeah.
it's easily like it's more visible than before. Like it definitely stands out, and it's like almost underneath this image they have a Space Invaders, which this one's cool because you get one of those like guns. Not like you're just using a controller. You actually have a gun and you get to like move it around and stuff and shoot.
Oh wow. Okay.
So it's kind of that's really cool that it takes some of the classic arcade games and they just revamped it to
Yeah.
what would appeal people today. And then on this list is that Injustice game. So I mean, if you go to an arcade game and you don't see a fighting game, then is that really an arcade? An arcade? Because I feel like that's always there. Um,
Yeah, you need at least one fighting game, I think.
yeah. And then the racing games, they have Mario Kart on this list. And then they have like, and I don't remember ever seeing this. It's a giant Connect 4. So they've
Yes.
taken a
Yeah.
board game and turned it into an arcade game.
Yeah, I don't understand that. Like, because it's massive. It's not
Yeah.
like a little Connect 4 thing that you and your buddy can like get on this cabinet and do. It's a massive Connect 4 that's up
Yeah.
on the wall. It's a lot of space
Yeah.
for Connect 4.
And they even have a Connect 4 hoops where I guess you just shoot basketballs to.
I have not seen that one. That's fun.
And then they have Rampage.
Mm,
They have
Rampage is great.
they have a Walking Dead one. I don't know what you do in this Walking Dead one. It's not a very good image. And then they still have Skee Ball. Yeah, to this day, if you go to an arcade, you're still going to find Skee Ball.
Oh yeah.
It's such a classic game. It's not like I know some they don't really give you tickets, but some will, and it's not going to give you a lot of tickets compared to some games where you can hit the jackpot. Because I remember one of the games. I know whenever we took our niece to Chuck E. Cheese, I got jackpot on it. I think twice. But I remember one game where it's like, hey, there's a light. It's going around in a circle. You're trying to hit it on the jackpot light thing in front of you. I feel like that's just like what you were saying, child casino, because they're just going to keep doing it and they try still.
I mean, they even have the games with like that one game with all the coins in there. It's like pushing.
Oh, pushes the coins or whatever. Yeah, that's straight gambling.
Yeah, they 100% have one of those at Spare Time, the bowling alley
Mhm.
near me. It's like a bowling alley slash arcade slash laser tag, like all this cool stuff. Um, they have these like collectible DC cards, and I may or may not have gotten addicted to that one for like 15 minutes before I was like, wait, hold on, no, I need to not be spending all of my laser tag time on this coin pushy thing. But they
um,
had a Harley Quinn one, man. It was right there on the edge, and I was all about to get it, and it never came. So I got Wonder Woman though.
yeah. Um,
I would much rather spend my money playing laser tag than arcade games.
Yeah, no, they captured me. I
yeah.
was in a DC headspace at the time, and I saw DC collectible cards, and I was like, oh man,
They've even
I only spent a
taken
couple dollars. It's okay.
like normal air hockey and they made it a 4-way player air hockey.
Mm-hmm.
I
That would
can't
just be
stand four-way air hockey.
that
I
would
just can't
gosh.
do it.
And then I see a Mario and Sonic Rio 2016 Olympic Games. So now they've taken, you know, video games that we get and they've turned them into arcade games because underneath that one there's a Luigi's Mansions arcade game. So
Yeah,
even though like, you know, the arcades have changed over the years, they still now they're going to like, you know, adapt around video games and they're going to take what we get on like gaming consoles and they want to just make an arcade game version of it where they can, you know, sell it to people. So that's really cool. There's even
which
good
has been the thing for
yeah.
ever, and vice versa. Taking arcade games, making them household games, console
Yeah.
games.
And then they even have Guitar Hero. Like they've just because Guitar Hero you
Oh
don't really get to
yeah, I
play
forgot about
that like
that.
at home anymore unless you still have those, you know, old systems where but they still have that as an arcade game.
Mm,
And then I don't even know what this one is. It's a Spider-Man game, but I don't know what you do. It's Spider-Man Homecoming, right? Yeah. So that was based off the movie.
I haven't seen that one.
And then there's also a Halo one. Halo Fire Team Raven. That one
Yeah,
looks
it
like a
hasn't come out yet.
pod. Um, and then there was that Jurassic Park one that you talked about, the World
Jurassic
VR,
World.
Jurassic World VR attraction. Yeah, like talking about this is making me want to go to an arcade. And like I told you earlier, we were supposed to go to one today, but
Oh
that's
yeah,
going to
yeah.
be pushed to next weekend.
Is that an arcade?
Um, was
I
it
never
round
looked
one?
it up.
I mean, they have that Halo Fire Team Raven one. It says new arrival. That was
It
back
is an
in
arcade.
oh shoot, that was a couple years ago. Eh, apparently, I scrolled on their images way too far.
Okay, so they've got at the one we're gonna go to. They have bowling, arcade games, karaoke, billiards,
Pool.
and ping pong.
I mean, here's an image. Yeah, they have a bunch of like. Why does it seem like a lot of arcades have a bunch of like claw machines? We didn't even talk about claw machines. But I'm looking at this, and they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They have 5 different claw machines in this image. One, it looks like you get Pikachu's. One, you get Mickey Mouse. One, you get something with a strawberry. One, you get like a panda, and I don't even know what that one is. But yeah, claw machines have changed over the years too.
Most claw machines, unfortunately, are ripoffs.
Yes.
They're they're not strong enough on the grab to pick up what they need to grab.
Yeah. Yeah, man, I'm excited to go to an arcade again. It's been a while. Oh, let's see. Is there anything else that we wanted to talk about with arcades?
Mm,
I'm just trying
bring
to
them
think.
back.
I'm just trying to.
Bring them back.
Yeah, bring them back.
I would like to go to an arcade if I could spend someone else's money.
That's why when we were younger, we're like, yeah, we want to go to the arcade, mom and dad, but they didn't want to spend their money.
And that's why, as an adult, I'm like, I
I
get
don't.
it.
Yeah, I get it. Because
Also, I have
Especially,
no idea
I was just
Go
gonna
ahead.
say, especially when I know that some of the games are ripoffs,
Mhm.
just or like a rigged. So I'm like,
I mean, I wouldn't want to do the ones that are ripoff. Like, hey, I have like this amount. It's like, hey, you're going to have to spend like 6 tokens to do it. It's like, well, why? Like, I don't want to have to spend more money. Like, for me, it's just, other than that Star Wars game I talked about, if I see something like that, I'm like, that's just going to cause me to not play it. And then I want to go and find something else that is just as enjoyable, but it was like 2 tokens instead of the 6.
aren't there some games that are like you die or you lose, but then it's like, hey, for 2 more you can just continue on.
Yeah, continue on.
Right?
Yeah.
But then I feel like at some point you've just spent
That's
more.
most of the not ticket games that are still ripoffs, like the
Yeah.
Terminator game I was telling you about, where it's like you're not going to make it to the end of the mission, but if you swipe that card
You
5
get,
times, you might make it to the end of the mission.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, and guess what? There's 5 missions, so it's a whole thing.
Yeah.
But Time Crisis, they're good to us.
Oh, all right. Well, if there's nothing else with arcades, then we can move on to nostalgia game of the week. I mean,
I feel like
heck,
whole thing was a
that whole thing was
game.
nostalgia. We should just that could just be it. The nostalgia game of the week is all those arcade games.
Yep.
But no, we'll do some. We'll do one. This is where we're just going to spin a wheel that has a bunch of different games. Which maybe I'll just add some arcade games to the list. But if you want us to add anything to this list, then just go to the Discord and go to the podcast section, and there should be a nostalgia game suggestion. Just put it in there. And this week we have Mighty Morphin Power Rangers the movie video game. This is one that I added.
I'm glad you added it because I've never played that.
So this is one of those side scroller beat 'em up games, kind of like the Scott Pilgrim and the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. It was for the Sega Genesis. I remember my sister and I playing it constantly, and we got so far one time because those games where if you die the amount of times like you're dead, you have to start the game all over. There was one, and it was based off of the movie The Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. The one with I don't remember. It was like the purple goo or whatever. The purple people. I don't know. I can't remember the enemy, but we got basically to the very end where it was like that final fight, and we died. And like we ran out of our lives, and we had to start all over. And I think at that point we were just both like, "Nah, we're done." And I don't think I've ever played that game since then. Since I got we got to the very end of it. But yeah. I mean, it was a good game. It was just, just one of those like side scroller beat 'em ups, like, any other one. So, I mean, I had fun with it. That was probably the most I remember my sister playing a video game. Honestly, I don't even know how many hours that was. I mean, to me as a kid at that time, it felt like, a very long time. It could have been like, just a couple hours that we got there. But it felt like a very long time. And it just sucked that we got to the very end and we ended up dying. But it is what it is. But it was fun. I don't know if I would ever play it again. I mean, I probably would go in and play it again, just bring back memories, but not really care. I know there's other games out there I would prefer to play. But yeah.
Heck yeah. Did you get to play as the Green Ranger?
I don't remember who. I mean, hold on, let me pull up the game.
Was there ever a Purple Ranger?
I don't think there was ever a Purple
I
Ranger.
don't think I ever saw a Purple Ranger. That makes me sad.
I feel like I mostly played as the White Ranger.
Well, White Ranger was Green Ranger. I
Um,
think. I think that's the lore. Green Ranger turned into White Ranger. Pretty sure.
but the Genesis version is a side scroll. I play the Genesis version. Apparently they had a Game Boy and a what, Super Nintendo? Yeah, SNES. Genesis version is a side scroller beat 'em up that can be played up to 2 players, where the player can control both the Rangers themselves and their Zords, depending on the level. The game consists of 6 stages, with the first 2 stages and the final one covering events from the film, whereas stages 3 to 5 are set before the events of the film and adapts key episodes from the TV show's second season, namely White Light, Ninja Encounter, and Power Transfer. The game soundtrack. Okay, I don't care about the soundtrack. Game contains the total of 9 Rangers: Tommy, Adam, Kimberly, Billy, Aisha, Rocky, Zach, Trina, and Jason. Okay, there are names I didn't even know. Um, so I guess you could play as any of the Rangers. That's cool though.
Any of those Rangers.
Any of those Rangers, yeah. Not any of the Rangers, just any of those. But 9? Was there really 9 in that movie?
That might have been one of the movies where they started like reaching out to the other Rangers because it's gotten ridiculous. In one of the like later movies, they have like every Ranger that's ever appeared in any movie show up. And it's insane.
So this movie,
It's like dozens and dozens of Rangers all show up in this like ravine to fight these enemies.
well, it came out in 95. Let's see. It's showing there's only 6. Whenever I count the Rangers, there's only 6 from the movie. Then why can you play 9? That's weird. I don't know. But we didn't come here to talk about Power Rangers. Oh, I mean, did we want to talk about what we've been playing this week? Just skip it. I mean, it's not been much for me. It's just mostly just 2 games. Well, 3.
One game for me.
What, Minecraft? I finished season 3 of
Oh, 2 games.
Walking Dead and Pokemon Unite.
Pokemon Unite. Yeah.
Which I want to say I do want to say something about Pokemon Unite. So I actually picked up Snorlax the other day because well, I would constantly face a Snorlax and I would get annoyed whenever they would get that block the block move where they just hold up their arms and it has like an like that shield, and if you touch it, it pushes you back. Yeah. And then also I finally reached trainer level 13. I think it was yesterday, and I got the Coister or whatever, the big crab.
Crustle.
Yeah, Crustle or whatever. Yeah. I got him, and because it was part of the like a different events that you have to do, like you unlock, I guess, up to like 6 days or 7 days, and if you complete all of the 6 ones, you complete all the ones on there, you'll get him. So I ended up getting that Pokemon, and I played him, and one of his moves that he can do is puts up like a well, not a circle, it's a I guess half circle rock wall that you can put up. And I was like, okay, so what if you put him up, or like you put that rock wall up, you had a Snorlax that comes in, does the little block move, and pushes them against that rock wall, where they literally cannot escape anywhere. And you just trap the enemy and just, beat down on them. I'm guessing
you would have to have 2 tanks on a team.
Have you not seen that before? Have you not seen 2 tanks on a team?
I have, and it never works out well.
Oh, well, I've faced 2 tanks on a team before, and they've destroyed us. So,
Sad.
I've seen 2 tanks on a team, seen 2 supports on a team. I think one of the most annoying characters that I absolutely hate facing, and I don't have the character myself, is the support character that is just like the giant like flower or not flower, I don't know, giant weed.
Eldegoss. Yeah, everyone dislikes Eldegoss, but Eldegoss is pretty
I don't have
manageable.
I don't have the character and I haven't played the character, but anytime I face that character, I absolutely hate it. They are so annoying.
Because they have a heal? Because they have a little bit of
They
CC?
never die. I can never kill them. They're so annoying.
Well, what character are you playing?
I mostly play what is it? Zoror, whatever. I don't know. I don't know that Pokemon. It's the electric cat.
Damage.
No, I do damage, but then they still get away. It's like, oh, hey, they're gonna, they'll get healed, they'll get a shield or something, and then they get away, and they end up putting something on me that does damage over time, and it kills me.
Yeah, you gotta be careful of Eldegoss and Venusaur, and I think there's maybe even Cinderace. But Eldegoss and Venusaur have poison. Cinderace and Flametalon may have like a burn, but yeah.
Well, I know with Cinderace, does it have a burn? I mean, does Charizard have a burn?
I don't know. I played Charizard like twice during the tutorial, and then played Pikachu until I was able to get Gengar. No, actually, I played Gengar because Gengar was on free rotation when I started. So
Yeah.
I've just been playing Gengar the whole time. I'm an assassin.
Well, I mostly play the one I told you.
People who don't understand MOBAs who play that game annoy me. Just saying.
Yes.
Like,
Oh, yes.
I'm a jungler and I have random people coming in and stealing my jungle stuff. I'm like,
I know how that feels. I've had people
I'm not going to be able to gank for you.
I've had people where I'm in lane and I've been in like a fight or something, and where it would be like a 1v1 or something, and I almost have them, like I'm low, but they're also low, and they're probably going to, win. And I've had a guy come from like the jungle, come down, and just go past me, go further down, and doesn't even join the fight. And I'm like, what are you doing? Like, come in, help me finish the dude. And I end up dying and the guy gets away. But I'm like, if you came in, either, like, he definitely would have died and I could have lived, or no matter what, you would kill him and then I still would die. But, like, come in and, like, help. Don't just, like, run past. And I'm like, I know you saw it. Like, I saw you even on my screen just run past. It's like, what are you doing?
Yeah, part of that, I think, is just children not knowing what they're supposed to do in the game. They're like, oh, it's a Pokemon game. I'm just going to play it and do what the game told me to do.
Yeah.
And they don't know what a MOBA is, so they don't know how they're supposed to play it.
Yeah.
However, when I go into ranked and still experience that, it's annoying. Because if you're a child and you don't know how to play the game, you shouldn't be playing ranked.
Yeah, I was doing ranked the other day, and I got up to Great Class 2 or something like that. I got up to Great Class because it was part of one of the daily things for me to unlock a character. So I did that, and then I played a little bit more. I eventually got up to Great Class 2, but there was one day, no matter what the game mode was, even if it was like ranked, standard, or whatever, I lost every game that I played, and I was so upset because I did mostly ranked, and I dropped down back to Great Class 1. And I was like, I don't want to. I was like, I don't want to play more right now because I don't want to drop down to like beginner. I'm just having a bad day. I've lost every game, and the thing is like I can't say that it was me. Like I understand, like, hey, I'm the common factor with that I've lost every game. But if I get MVP from my team for most of those games, it's not me. I'm just having a bad day.
I pretty much only play if I have at least Ron and John with those are that's my 3 stack currently. I want to get you and Alex or you and Cody or someone to get a 5 stack because I hate playing with randos.
I mean, you haven't played with me yet, so
You.
I mean, I feel like it's more difficult for you to just like get on and play if you're since you're playing on your roommate's Switch or your
I mean,
roommate's
we
girlfriend's
have both
Switch.
switches set up, connected to TVs in the living room. I just can't play during the day because work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I've played Minecraft this week, and then I've also last
yeah.
night I played a game. I guess it's a game.
Yeah, it's a board game type thing.
My friends and I solved a cold case mystery. It was a lot of fun. It was so cool. So I bought it, and it was like it came in this evidence bag, and you open it, and it's like it's like got a case file and everything, and there's like crime scene photos, which weren't as gory as I was expecting. I was a little disappointed. Like witness statements and interview logs, and there was a phone call log. It was a lot of fun. We solved it. It took us about 2.5 hours. But definitely, I mean, there is no replay value on it because you solved it. But we put everything back, and I'll probably find someone else to pass it along to, so someone else can enjoy it.
Is that the one where it has all the different like suspect files and like the real life pictures of people in it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay, I played that one.
Yeah.
That was fun.
I got it off of Amazon. There are several different ones.
Yeah, we first saw them at
Oh,
Walmart.
okay. So I might have played a different version of it than you did.
I think this was called. So the brand is Unsolved Case Files. The one I did was Who Murdered Harmony Ashcroft.
Okay.
But there's
Ours
several.
was a dude.
Yeah, there's several different ones.
That's cool.
Oh wow, one. Oh no! Click the button. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 8, 11. Like there's a good many. Someone murdered the pet bunny.
No.
Anyway, but yeah, highly recommend it if you like solving mysteries. Yeah.
All right, cool. Well, we're going to move on to we're definitely going to move on to our out of the box gaming news. Welcome to Out of the Box Gaming News with Lindsay Picard.
EA's Dead Space remake is being led by Eric Baptista. I wanted to say anyway. The previous game director for Assassin's Creed Valhalla, who left Ubisoft after 16 years to join EA Motive. Sources familiar with the development of Dead Space have reportedly said it could launch as early as fall 2022, sooner than many fans expected given that very little has been revealed about the remake. Following 2 turbulent weeks that included a lawsuit, an employee walkout, and public outcry over alleged discrimination at the company, Blizzard President J. Allen Brack has stepped down and is being replaced by co-leaders Jen O'Neill and Mike Ybarra. Hades, Psychonauts 2, 12 Minutes, Skate, Skate 3, and more are coming to Xbox Game Pass this month. Star Wars announced a new R2-D2 Tamagotchi that costs $20 and is set to arrive in our galaxy on November 11th. If he's neglected for too long, Jawas may take him away. No word on if he poops or not, though. Computer science student and software developer Lab Nassim has created a Google Maps-like experience of The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. Nintendo has shipped more than 89 million Switch units, passing both Xbox 360 and PS3 to become the 7th biggest selling games console of all time. And last year, Niantic increased the interaction distance of Pokestops from 40 meters to 80, but recently reverted it back because it wants people to connect to real places. Fans have reacted to the change with anger and the #HereIsNiantic hashtag. Back to you. Let me just say, I'm so excited about my new
Tamagotchi
that's been pre-ordered.
We pre-ordered 2 of them. We didn't get the classic white. We both wanted the hologram blue, so we pre-ordered 2 hologram blue R2-D2 Tamagotchis. So I'm very excited to get that.
See who kills their R2-D2 first.
Yep.
Kind of sad Skate 2 didn't get on the Game Pass.
Yeah, what up with that?
Yeah, skipped over Skate 2.
So I wonder how this Google Maps of the Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild thing works, because it's kind of cool. I have to look into that. And then, okay, so I'm not surprised with the Nintendo Switch passing 360 and PS3 to be the 7th biggest selling gaming console of all time. I'm not surprised. Like, Switch is a good console, and it's been around for a while. And so, hold on. Whenever the new that Switch OLED comes out, they're going to consider that like a separate console and not have it the same sales as the Switch. Is that right?
No clue.
Okay. Dead Space. Like, I don't know anything about Dead Space, but I guess that is sooner. What, fall of in a little more than a year away.
It's a lot sooner than I was expecting, because I didn't even know they were making a remake, so that's exciting.
Well, yeah, they showed the it was during the EA showcase thing that they had a couple weeks ago. It was when we were in South Carolina. The last thing that they had on their thing was just Dead Space. They were just showing like a little thing, and it was just a remake. And I never played Dead Space, but I know a lot of people were excited for it. So that's really cool.
It was a very creative game. Very well done 3D shooter. Incredibly creative weapon and gear design. Just everything about it was very unique and beautiful for a grotesquely gory game.
Maybe I'll look into it when it comes out.
You know what I thought of when I read that, which this is not gaming related, but there's a good correlation between if you like games, you're gonna like this. I heard, there's a new Spider-Man movie coming out.
Yeah.
Far From Home, or is that a different one?
Far From Home, I believe.
Yeah. I heard that there aren't gonna be any trailers to come out for the movie because they want everything to be a surprise and be experienced in the theater.
I'm okay with that, because I have an old coworker who he is a movie goer, and I would ask him like if there'll be a new trailer for a movie that I know he's going to go see. I'm like, hey, have you watched it? He goes, no, I'm not going to watch trailers because I want to be surprised with everything that I see. And I'm like, all right, that's cool. I don't know if I could do that. Yeah. So if they purposely do it where they're not going to make trailers, I'm okay with it, because then I have nothing to look at. So I'm okay with that.
Yeah, that popped in my head that I'd read that and I thought I'd share. I thought that was cool.
I wonder if they were going to do that, because I know a lot of people were mad about the Spider-Man. Wait, is Far From Home the second one that came out?
Yeah, I could be wrong about the name.
Yeah. So I think the Far From Home was the second one, because that's where he was. He was
Far From Home.
Yeah, he was Far From Home. So, and that one, whenever they showed a trailer for it, it gave the spoiler that Iron Man died. Mm. So I wonder if, from backlash of that happening, which I don't know if it was just backlash at them or backlash at the movie theater for showing that trailer before Endgame, because that did happen. Because I know when we went and saw Endgame, they showed that trailer at the very end of the movie. But then after the movie's been out for a while, and you know how they show previews, they put that preview before that movie. And if that's your first time seeing it, that's just the gigantic spoiler. And people were mad. Yeah. So
I don't think they've announced the title for the new one.
No Way Home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. So the only
So
thing
it's
we
got
actually know
hole in
about that
it.
movie,
That's why I was
the only
confused.
thing we know about that movie is a couple of the casting
yeah, they show some
and
images.
that Kirsten Dunst was recently seen near where they're filming that movie.
I mean, I'm pretty sure with the whole thing of Loki that's happened, like, there's
She was in the Tobey Maguire movies, right?
yes.
She was Mary
Mul-
Jane.
Multiverse thing, and I know they've like people are speculating, like we're going to be seeing the other Spider-Mans.
There's gonna be
we've
some
seen-
angry fans if Toby and Andrew do not show up in
yeah.
this movie.
But I mean, that is if the
I have my
movie
own
is going
opinions
to
on Tobey
actually
Maguire himself, but I do love those movies.
I mean,
Yeah.
Tom Holland's clearly the best Spider-Man there ever was and ever will be.
Definitely.
But anyway, that was the news.
Yeah.
Plus some extra.
There you go. So yeah, trivia question.
You got a bonus today.
Oh, is that a thing?
What trivia question?
Wednesday.
Yeah. So, what planet? Let me read this.
The thing is I don't know the different sizes of the planets.
What planet is most similar to the scalable size of the Minecraft world?
I don't know the different sizes of the planets, so I don't know.
Guys, I'll give you a hint. It's not Pluto.
Okay, I was going to ask if you're going to consider Pluto a planet.
Pluto's a planet now.
It's planet again,
but it's not.
It's a planet
I'm
again.
fairly certain they recategorized it as a planet. I don't know for a fact. Don't quote me on that, but I vaguely remember being happy about some Pluto news.
What was it? What's his name? Was it Neil deGrasse or whatever? Like, was that his call? Because he was the one that got rid of it.
Wait, it was him? Now I know who was my target.
Yeah.
I think it was him.
Yeah, it was him. I think he was the reason why they said Pluto's no longer a planet.
That's hurtful.
I don't know the different sizes of planets. I don't know which one's like the small, other than Pluto, that being the smallest. I know what Jupiter's freaking huge.
Jupiter's the biggest.
Yeah. I just don't know how big like all of them are compared to one another.
Compared to Earth, I'm pretty sure all of them are larger except for like Mars, Venus, Mercury, Pluto, and maybe Neptune. But I think most of them are larger than Earth.
See, and I think like going into this, I was like, I feel like the common answer people would probably give is Earth, but I wanted to be different, and I want to give like the second common answer, which people may say is Mars, and I think that's what I want to say is it's compared to Mars.
So let's see. Jupiter
is the biggest.
I'm going from biggest to smallest. Okay. Jupiter, Saturn.
Okay, I knew Saturn was huge as well.
Uranus.
Yes. And then Neptune. And then Earth, Venus, Mars, Mercury. These were in order. I don't know why I was trying to think about it. I didn't realize they were in order.
They were in order? Okay. So Mercury is the smallest.
Mm-hmm. So Mercury, Mars, and Venus are smaller than Earth.
I'm just going to go with Mars as my answer. I feel like I would want to say the smallest, which is Mercury, but no, I want to say Mars, the second smallest.
Now you said Venus is larger than Mars?
Yes.
Yes. I mean,
By how many square feet?
This is based off radius. This is based off of radius.
So Mercury, 1,516 miles for the radius.
Oh, so we're not talking like all of its surface area. We're just talking.
Well,
like
I mean, if you get
radius converted to a flat plane. Yes.
Yeah, because radius is straight across.
That
radius is halfway from the.
It's half.
Yeah, diameter is all the way across.
But it's the diameter flat. It's not the total surface area of the planet.
I mean, we could get the surface area based off of the radius.
No,
Okay. So here's surface area. Mercury is 28.88 million miles squared. Does that make things harder for you?
I think that makes things much easier for me.
Okay. Mercury is 55.9.
Not Mars.
Sorry,
You
Mars.
said Mercury.
55.91 million miles squared. Venus is 177.7 million miles squared. Earth, 196.9 million miles squared. Neptune,
I'm
We're getting to billions. After Earth,
Yeah.
we're getting to billions.
2.941 billion miles squared. There's a big difference between
still very
Earth
confused
and
about the
Neptune.
question, so I'm just going to say Mercury to be different.
The smallest one.
What did you say?
I said Mars because I was like, I want to say Mercury, but I want to be different and say Mars.
Well, y'all both are wrong. It is Neptune.
Wow.
The
Which is
one
pretty
bigger
large.
bigger than Earth.
Yeah, and there's a big difference between Earth and Neptune.
We go from like 4 million square foot
this is
radius. 4 mil. Okay, we go from about 2 million.
200 million.
200 million
Miles
squared to
3 billion miles.
the 3 billion. Okay.
Yeah.
We totally went the wrong direction. I thought it was going to be smaller than Earth, but no, it's larger.
So a Minecraft world is 3 billion square miles.
Yeah, have fun getting to the edge of the world that way.
It said to scale.
That's huge.
Scalable size. Similar to the scalable size of Minecraft. Whatever that means.
That is crazy.
That's insane.
But yes.
But we're running out of time, so we're going to wrap up this episode, and we want you to be able to contact us, check us out on other media platforms. Where can they do that?
Well, we've got that handy dandy link tree, which is at OOTB_gaming. Inside there, you can find our Discord, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, pretty much anything and everything dealing with Out of the Box Gaming. So be sure to check out all of those links and check out our Patreon and all of the fan-diddly-tastic perks you can unlock there. We want to give a huge shout out and thank you and big ups to our Collector's Edition Patreon, Cody Watkins, also known as Kitsune's Myth. We love him. He's one heck of a guy. He's been here supporting us since day one. He's such a sweetheart.
Well, probably since before that, because he's the one that Nick was talking about, went to the beach with and played arcade games.
Oh, yeah. And yeah, Patreon, it gives you extra entries to quarterly giveaways, just so you know. And if you want to find me, you can do that by going to YouTube, Twitch, or Instagram at AceKingKing. I'm not going to worry about Twitter anymore.
RIP. Please make sure to leave a review on our podcast on whichever platform you found us. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell so you know when we post a new video. And as always, thank you so much for listening, and please join us next week.
This has been Out of the Box Gaming with Nick Picard, Will Kinsey, and Lindsay. Thanks for playing along.